Executive Suite from 1954 was directed by Robert Wise of The Sound of Music and also Star Trek the Motion Picture fame. This one was interesting to me. There are a lot of big names, but it's very much a drama and not really super action-packed. Yes, it's got William Holden, but he's not in a war prison and he's not blowing up any bridges. Really, this is just a straight-up office drama about the struggle of executives at a huge furniture company and their quest for power when the president dies. Now, speaking as someone who's always been just this humble, low-level software tester with no real ambition of climbing the corporate ladder in real life, to that bright future of huge salaries and my own yacht and so on, this film felt like an interesting insight into the world of these flawed, powerful people and their power struggles. It was a little soapy, too. Probably isn't for kids, not because of adult content, obviously, but because it's, kind of a slow office-based drama, closer maybe in theme to something like 12 Angry Men. So the film opens up with this very interesting first-person point of view of the camera. Presumably, it's this president, and he's walking around, he's getting on an elevator, hailing a cab, etc. And then once he gets outside, he falls over dead. And then the film plays out as these various executive characters around the office hear about the death of their president and start plotting and scheming. The characters include William Holden, who's pretty much the everyman engineer. He's sort of the supervisor working on the floor as they're manufacturing tables and chairs, and he really doesn't like the direction that their company is taking by making this inferior furniture product. There's also Lewis Calhern. He's this kind of tall, stuffy, older guy who I've seen in some other films. He was notably in The Asphalt Jungle. And he's kind of doing this insider trading stuff that I totally don't understand. There's also Paul Douglas, who plays a beefy salesman, who also happens to be cheating on his wife. There's Dean Jagger, who's just this guy ready to retire. And Walter Pidgeon, who sort of this vacillating character who I thought resembled Michael McKean from the movie Clue. Maybe it's just me. Then there's Frederick March as the main protagonist, Shaw. He's this cold and calculating guy who crunches all the numbers and he plans to take over the business. To this guy, it's all about the bottom line and money, and not necessarily a quality product for the business. And Barbara Stanwyck is in the film as well. She plays the unhappy daughter of the company's namesake. It's called Treadway. But she was also in love with the president who had just died, the guy Bullard, the guy who apparently loved the business a lot more than her, and that's really reflected in her character. But she's still shaken up a lot from his passing. Now, I have to say this, sadly, Barbara Stanwyck is just not in this film as much as I would have liked, which is a shame, because she's awesome. So, back to Holden's character, who I would say kind of drives most of the narrative here. Early in the film, he confesses, "I'm a designer, not a politician." And you see him as this working character, and not really necessarily executive material, but you do start to see his transition throughout the course of the film as he moves in that inevitable direction. His character, to me, seemed like the only genuine character of the film, one that you could really relate to. Everybody else seemed kind of, inflated and artificial. Here he cares for his wife and his family, but he also wants the best for the people working with him at the company. He's not perfect, but he wants this furniture company to, bottom line, make a quality product. Hooray for quality assurance. And June Allison is really good in this film as his supportive yet cautious wife, and they do have a really sweet relationship. So without going too much into the details, there's a lot of dramatic talk that really drives much of this film, and people are talking and they're planning, and we finally get to the end of the film. What we build up to is that the board is going to make a decision about who will be the new executive. And it really kind of boils down to this creepy Shaw character who's all about money, and William Holden, who is about quality and about the people. And Holden will give a stirring speech near the end of the film. And here we see that his character is presenting this young, idealistic voice, driven for quality product. And it's him competing against this Shaw character who's really all about money and the bottom line, Who will become the executive? Well, you'll have to watch this one and see, but the film is good. The dialogue and the acting are sharp, and it's probably a lot brainier than my feeble mind could fully appreciate when it came to themes of squabbling executives in a business, insider stock trading, and whatnot. But hey, I still enjoyed it. It's a great film. And just some quick closing thoughts. I saw William Holden and Barbara Stanwyck together in The Golden Boy from 1939. It's a film I reviewed a few months ago. And it was great to see the two of them together again, but sadly, they share very little screen time here. And what was really curious about this film is that it has absolutely no musical score. I mean, that was striking to me. Look, I've spoken about it before. I'm a huge fan of John Williams and Jerry Goldsmith and those bombastic composers, but there's nothing here. And it felt like, at least during the big conclusion of the film, there should have been some sort of a triumphant, happy music to fit, but instead, the most music we get is just the ringing of the bells telling the hour. It was really interesting to me. I've never seen a film that I can think of without music. Executive Suite was a very intelligent film from director Robert Wise. It has William Holden, Barbara Stanwyck, and many other impressive performances. It's a little slow, very dramatic, a little soapy, but it's well acted and it's worth checking out.